Hello, my name is Sophie Russell, and today I'm going to be speaking to you about how to punctuate your dialogue when you're writing a narrative. First of all, dialogue is a written or spoken conversation between two or more people. Why would you use it? Well, there are several reasons. It brings your characters to life. It makes a story more lifelike. It can add drama to your narrative, and it can also create humour. Rule number 1, use quotation marks and punctuate inside of them. So as you can see on this picture here, the comma is before the quotation finishes. So surround your dialogue with quotation marks and end it with a comma before the last quote mark. End with a dialogue tag to identify the speaker. So this part in yellow is the dialogue, and the part in blue, said Martha, is the dialogue tag, and that tells us who is speaking. Rule number 2, create a new paragraph for new speakers. So this is an example of an incorrectly set out dialogue. This is my favourite dress, said Sally. It looks terrible on you, said Mark. So this is incorrect because it's all in the same paragraph, but Mark is a new speaker, so he needs to go on a new paragraph, like this, how it's demonstrated below in blue. Rule number 3, put full stops inside of your quotation marks if you don't have a dialogue tag. So this is an example of it done wrong. Can you see where the full stop is here? That is incorrect. In fact, the full stop needs to go inside the quote. It has to go before you close your quotation. In this example, we don't need a dialogue tag because Mark has already been identified. In narratives, you should indent every new paragraph with the tab key. Not just dialogue, but every new paragraph. This is an example of a section of some dialogue from the novel Holes, and let's take a look at how this looks on the page. So as you can see, each new paragraph has been indented. There is a space here, a space here, and then a new paragraph here. Even though this is not dialogue, it's still a new paragraph and it's still has an indent. So we can see here, there's a dialogue tag. Zero's been digging part of caveman's hole every day, said Squid. See, we see the comma is inside of the quotation before it's closed. And then our dialogue tag. And now we've got a new speaker. I'm teaching him to read and write, said Stanley. It's sort of a trade. The hole gets dug, so what does it matter who digs it? And then a new speaker. So we go to a new paragraph. Excuse me, said the warden. And then a new paragraph again. Isn't it more important for him to learn to read? Stanley asked. Doesn't that build character more than digging holes? So as you can see, this is an example from an actual novel, and any novel you pick up, the dialogue will be set out like this, and each new paragraph will have indents. This is another section of dialogue that I wanted to point out a few extra things to you. So this is actually an excerpt from a short story that I wrote when I was at uni, and I wanted to show you this little section here. So this is a conversation between a brother and a sister. And you may notice that because the reader knows that it's just a conversation between two people, that there are no dialogue tags on this. And the reason for that is because the reader knows who is saying what, because you go to a new line when a new character speaks. So dialogue tags, if you can avoid them, you should, because they just get, you don't want to clutter your writing. So if you can get away with not having a dialogue tag, that's always the most ideal. And you can see the little brother in his story loves pirates, so he speaks in pirate slang. He says, "Say what, me hearty?" And that just adds a bit of flair to these characters. So I'd like to show you how to indent each new paragraph on pages, as many of you will be using your iPads. So this is what your document will look like. Now I want to point your attention towards this icon here. So you tap on that and it will open up your choices. So you press the tab to indent each new paragraph. Unfortunately, on Pages, you do have to do that for every new paragraph. However, it does get easier when you're in year 10 and you have your laptops using Word. Word, once you've done it once or twice, will do it automatically for you every time you enter down. And just a few more tips about dialogue writing. Know your characters so that their unique personality comes through in their speech. Give your dialogue a purpose. Even though in real life people have mundane, everyday conversations, don't include that kind of talk in your narrative, as you will lose your reader to boredom. Don't put small talk in narratives. Don't waste your word count on it. Dialogue doesn't have to be too realistic, so don't add things like ums and ahs. Boring dialogue tags like she said are okay. Don't get too fancy with adverbs. And lastly, reading books is a great way to learn and practice writing dialogue. And that's all for today.